behind, rolls right to throw, sets up, has got a lot of room, runs to the 30, to the 35, to the 40, knocked out of bounds. The blitz is on, the ball is fumbled, it's recovered by the Rebels on the 22-yard line. Matthew Lovelady has it.
This is what we call the Egg Bowl, guys. It's life or death.
Hello everyone and welcome. I'm Brad Schultz. They don't play the Egg Bowl here in Jackson at Veterans Memorial Stadium anymore. It's a home and home series now, and this year's game will be Thanksgiving night in Starkville. But back in 1983, on this very field, Ole Miss and Mississippi State played an all-timer. Now, neither team came into that game with a winning record that season, but here we are, 30 years later, and the players, coaches, and fans from each of those schools can vividly remember a game that has come to be known as the Immaculate Deflection. With more, here's longtime Mississippi broadcaster Terry Smith.
It's not an exaggeration to say that the football programs at Ole Miss and Mississippi State were in turmoil in 1983. State had enjoyed a short rebirth under Coach Emory Bellard, who came to Starkville in 1979. The next year, the Bulldogs won 9 games, went to the Sun Bowl, and beat top-ranked Alabama for the first time in 23 years.
Game's over. Bulldogs win 6-3. Alabama goes down in defeat to Mississippi State 6-3.
Bellard did it with the wishbone, a 3-back offense he developed as an assistant coach at Texas. But by 1983, the meat was barely hanging on the bone. Mississippi State had a losing season in 1982, and coming into the Egg Bowl had a record of just 3-7. The team opened with 2 wins before losing 7 in a row.
The 83 team just could never quite get it going, you know. Ran the wishbone, and it was either really, really good or really bad. They lost a lot of really good people the year before that. Ken Hull, people like that, and that was a tough thing. They had been good. The 80, 81, 82 teams were really good Mississippi State teams, good physical teams, really physical teams.
Meanwhile, at Ole Miss, the Rebels began 1983 with a new coach. After 5 straight losing seasons, Steve Sloan headed to Duke.
Coach Sloan's a great person. Within the staff, there was not a lot of disciplinary placed on the players. You had a lot of players that would go out and, you know, get in trouble, miss curfew because he was forcing us with a curfew, and they'd miss curfew and he wouldn't run them or anything.
The new man in charge was former Rebel star Billy Brewer. Brewer had played for some of Johnny Vault's best teams and hoped to bring Vault's toughness back to Ole Miss.
I was a pretty demanding person as a head football coach. I ate breakfast with them, I ate lunch with them, I ate supper with them, and I was in a dormitory at night. I ran the Monday night study halls. We did this. I mean, we were hands-on. We were determined to change their attitude, their work habits, and their discipline.
Coach Brewer came in and he immediately told us that, you know, he expected certain things. And it was a different atmosphere, a different level of discipline that he was going to expect out of players, both on and off the field.
Put on your pads, we're going to knock heads. And so he didn't really put up with much, and which was a good sight because there were a lot of people that were getting away with some things that they shouldn't have been getting away with.
Brewer wanted a quick start, but instead the Rebels lost 4 of their first 5 games. Particularly embarrassing was a 40-0 loss to Alabama, in which Tide quarterback Walter Lewis ran wild.
Now another look at Walter Lewis moments later after Ole Miss fails to mount a drive. At the Tide 18, he breaks away on the draw for 24 yards and clicks off another big first down.
We started off poorly. We overworked them. The players really they didn't have any confidence in themselves. They hadn't experienced success here during their tenure here, their days here.
We wasn't gelling as a team. You know, cohesiveness takes time. And when you're not a cohesive group, you know, it takes time to establish that. I think the first 4 or 5 ball games of the season, we were starting to get that momentum we needed.
With the season in danger of running off the tracks, Brewer made a difficult decision. He replaced Kent Austin at quarterback with Kelly Powell.
I'd gotten very disappointed, but I almost to the point of just turning it in, not quitting, but just saying and accepting that I'm not going to start any, just continue to play my role. But you know, I said, hey, I'm going to go out to practice, do what I do every day, work my hardest.
When Kelly came in, he was at right times, right place. And what we were doing just fit him because we structured everything kind of around his ability. And we reduced, got back in, and we only did a few things. Well, let's do a few things real well.
Had a great week of practice as the previous weeks, and I guess they had figured out that, you know, we weren't winning. We might as well try something else. And so they put me in the game, and like I said, the rest is history.
The turnaround started with a 20-7 win over Texas Christian in Fort Worth.
Things started to turn around for us a little bit. We began to believe in ourselves. And I remember telling Freddie Joe Nunn, who played with the Cardinals for years, I told Freddie Joe, you know what? We're starting this thing right here. And we get to knock off some wins in a row.
Be more conservative, play defense, have a good kicking game, give ourselves a chance to win. This is how we're going to win. Do what we can offensively. Control the football, don't turn it over, and be real good on defense. Intercept the ball, get a fumble, punt return, kickoff return, block punts. Make a difference. Make a difference in the game right here.
They had some leaders on that team. They had some guys who were laid on the line, and I think it showed.
After wins over Vanderbilt and LSU, the Rebels went to Knoxville to face a Tennessee team that had beaten Alabama. The key play in a 13-10 upset was Hall's forced fumble that stopped a late volunteer drive.
And there was a guy named Greg Walker from Meridian that probably not too many fans remember. But he was assigned to block Reggie White that night in Knoxville. And I covered Greg in high school, saw him play in Meridian. And Greg was not the biggest guy in the world, but he handled Reggie White that night. He handled Reggie White that night, and it was a big reason Ole Miss was able to win that game.
You know, that game right there did help us turn it around and build some confidence, and so, you know, we saw that we could win. And
how we did it, I have no idea really. The crowd and the Tennessee band behind you playing Rocky Top, you can't hear yourself think. We won. It went across this part of the country like a wildfire. We'd come in the Oxford Airport. We couldn't land. The students were all over the runway. They're just running and hollering. They got up and the plane would pick up and we'd go around and come again. The other one would try, couldn't do it. We'll cut all these kids up with these propellers.
The win moved Ole Miss to 5-5 on the season, and by beating Mississippi State, the Rebels would qualify for a bowl invitation.
It always means something. I've been around both teams on both sides the week of the Egg Bowl. And I've seen teams with good records and gone up to that school and done stories. And I've seen teams with terrible records. But that week, it doesn't matter.
We had a great week of practice, a physical week of practice. I mean, we could do anything. Then, hey, we something like 5-5, Right, yes. It was a bowl game. Really didn't think about a bowl game. We want to beat Mississippi State.
We knew a lot was on the line. We knew if we win the ball game, we were going to a bowl game. If we lost the ball game, we were not going to a bowl game. And so a lot of pressure was there on the team.
Welcome to the Mississippi Memorial Stadium in Jackson, where this afternoon Coach Emory Bellard of the Mississippi State Bulldogs are hosting the University of Mississippi Rebels coached by Billy Brewer in this, the 80th renewal of this great, colorful, and traditional series between these two fine institutions.
We knew that as a team collectively that we had a lot riding on that game, bowl implications possibly. That would have put us at 6 wins. And then we look at the weather, and as we're riding from the hotel to the stadium, it's getting darker and darker, and we really were surprised that it didn't rain before we even went out for warm-ups. And so we go out for warm-ups, and it's still getting darker. The light's already on, and it's breezy, and all the rebel flags are in the flame. They're almost just like they've been pressed out. They're blowing so hard.
The wind was blowing from the south. Tornado warnings. Flagpole was laying down. Sirens going off. I was hoping they would call the game off. Really. We can't beat these folks. In my mind, I knew we had a huge challenge in front of us.
Weather-wise, we do not have an ideal fall Mississippi day. In fact, it feels more like an April day relative to November. It is 75 degrees. The wind is extremely high, and it could play havoc with the passing game and the kicking game this afternoon, and could well be a factor in this contest.
Really the first half, that was not a very good ball game. It really wasn't well played. Egg bowls are funny. I think people are so emotional that sometimes they just can't execute.
Well, this crowd's alive. It's already coming up on its feet. It's going to be that kind of an afternoon. Blitz is on. Powell back to throw, swings it to the right side. In trouble, Humphrey knocked down at the 17-yard line by Eddie Hornback.
Good job of playing by Eddie Hornback.
Everything we had prepared for that week in the, it was like they had somebody watching our practice. They knew everything we were going to do.
Comes off the option, makes the pitch, turning the corner. Wilson drives to the 20, to the 15, to the 10, knocked down at the 5-yard line. Pass back is put down, the kick is up, it's plenty high and long, it's good. Mississippi State 3 on the Artie Cosby field goal.
He's just like a Tiger Woods in golf. Coming off the tee, he may hit it to Batesville over there.
For the game, going toward the north end, that he had hit field goals of 70 yards that day. So you hit 3 70-yarders.
Handing the ball, Bond rolling to the right, looking, may run, is going to, runs to the 25, cuts inside the 20, knocked down at the 19-yard line. Good block out front from LaWar Wyndham. Matthew Lovelady making the tackle for Ole Miss. Bond checking the defense, sneaks and dives and scores. Behind, McDonald, Sanders, Camardo, Reicham, and Robinson. Mississippi State's John Bond caps a 53-yard first touchdown of the afternoon drive.
We knew how good they were. They were big, strong, physical, had speed, and very talented. This guy knew what he was doing with the wishbone, and he had him at quarterback that could deal, read, the option, flick it, pass it. They were a talented football team. We just athletically couldn't stay with them.
I don't think anybody's ever run the wishbone better than John. There may have been people faster or whatever, but he made just such great decisions. And he was tough, just tough as nails.
Bulldogs, John Bond up underneath, goes to the right side and driving Kuntz to the goal line and scores. Henry Kuntz, who John told you just has a nose for that goal line, was hit about the 1, and the youngster picked up only his 3rd touchdown of the year. But it was
I thought Ole Miss had to have some breaks. That's a lot to come back from. And that team had been on a roll, and you wondered how much that roll had taken out of them.
Penalty flag down as Bond tries to turn the corner and is going to be knocked down hard along the 17-yard line. Coming up out of the secondary for Ole Miss was Johnny Armstrong. 10 men on the line of scrimmage. They'd love to block one right here against Mississippi State. We're waiting the snapback. Cuts, pulling down a high pass, pressure's on, gets it off. A driving kick upfield. Timmy Moffitt wants to handle it at the 35, runs laterally to the 40, breaks the tackle, comes out to midfield, keeps running with a screen of blockers in front of him. He's going to go for a touchdown. Timmy Moffitt all the way.
We go for a 10-man block. We didn't come close to blocking the punt. Timmy Moffitt's back here, catches the punt. He's a receiver. He wiggles and Joe's down there. We didn't block a soul.
We tried to block it. We didn't get it. And Timmy took it, and he made a cut. And I think we had about 9 guys blocking the punter. It was the last guy to. And Timmy takes it all the way back, and that's the first score that we had.
And that'll run out the end of the first half with Mississippi State leading Ole Miss 17-7.
Maliko makes this Newt Rockney speech, and you know, to this day it'll still put goose pimples on you, but that got everybody fired up. We come out and it was just a totally different ball game.
Lee goes around to everybody, and he totally changes the atmosphere in the locker room and the attitude of every player. Just saying that, look, this is not the way my last season at Ole Miss is going to end. We are better than this, and we're going to play better than that.
It is put down. His kick is carrying high and long. He is good. We're waiting the snapback. It's put down. The kick will be plenty high and long, and he has got it. Artie Cosby, his 3rd field goal of the afternoon with a 51-yarder.
You always, as a coach, want to win in the 4th quarter. That's where you're going to close the gap. If you're behind, whatever, you got a chance then, because you can turn bad things into good things. We wasn't in the ball game. You know, freakish things happened in the 3rd quarter that led us back in. They gave us a chance.
Bond goes inside to the fullback and spinning up to about the 11 and fumbling the ball is Mississippi State. Ole Miss says they've got it, and let's see if they do. Well, evidently they do. Ole Miss has it.
Kelly Powell turns around, feeds it to Humphrey. He's hit. He fumbles. Ball rolls loose. Powell picks it up. He goes into the end zone. Touchdown.
Well, I'm supposed to carry my fake out. I was supposed to be around the left end. Well, I just sit there and watch the play. Fortunately, the ball took a proper hop, and I scooped it and ran it in. And, you know, after got back over on the sideline, the quarterback coach at the time, George Smith, he says, I won't dock you for not carrying your fake out on that play. He says, great job.
That's the first touchdown scored by any quarterback for Ole Miss this year, and what a freak it was.
When I saw the fumble come out at the goal line and the ball bounce, one bounce into Kelly Powell's arms, and he skirts right in for a touchdown. That's when I said, Ole Miss is going to win this game.
Snap count on the line of scrimmage, goes out to the first man, and the ball is pitched and fumbled. Ole Miss picks it up, but they can't run it into the end zone.
Here we go, 3rd down from the 10-yard line, 9 yards to go. Powell dropping straight back, Powell looking into the end zone. Powell throwing to Coffin, corner, touchdown, Ole Miss, Timmy Moffitt caught it.
The ball is supposed to be placed, thrown actually at the orange cone, and he was just so wide open. And I keep kidding, I've always kidded him, why'd you slide after that? You had to make it look like it was hard. And he said, well, the ball was low. And I told him, I said, well, that's where the ball's supposed to be thrown.
Bond throws a quick pass across the line, shoots, intercepted by Ole Miss at the 25. Joe Hall has it, hauled out of the 18-yard line.
We knew what he was doing. First half he threw it, I dropped it. I dropped the intercept the first half, hit me right in the hand. I said, if it happens again, I'm going to catch it. So he came down the line again, he was reading me, and I backpedaled 3 steps, and he went to throw it. He threw it right to me.
Waiting for the snap. It's placed down. There's the kick. It is up. It is good!
Brad, I'll tell you what, we've been involved in so many games like this year, it just seems routine, doesn't it?
Not to me, it doesn't. The Rebels have scored 17 points in the last 5 minutes and 6 seconds of play, based on 3 mistakes by State, 2 fumbles, and an intercepted pass.
They're in great position to put this ball game out of reach right now. Even if they don't score, they're controlling the ball. Powell fumbles, and Mississippi State recovers.
I'm the reason for them getting the opportunity to kick the field goal because I fumbled the snap, and which when all that took place, I get over on the sideline and I didn't even watch the rest of the game. I never saw the kick. I had to watch it on video because I had a towel over my head.
Bond wants to throw over the middle, pass complete to Wyndham at the 30 to the 35, taken off his feet in the first down. As Bond handles the ball and rolls back to throw and may go to the outside on the run, throws upfield, pass completed to Wilson. He takes it down the sidelines and is finally downed along the 27-yard line in Rebel territory.
That surprised me that State was able to move the ball, to compose themselves from so many bad things that had happened to them in the fourth quarter.
Mississippi State had a good team. I mean, they really had a good team that year, and I don't think as seniors and a lot of us, we didn't really want it to end. So I think that was more we kind of dug down deep and got the opportunity to play hard. But they had a really good team. I don't think we gave up.
Bond, long snap count, sneaks it again straight ahead and drives all the way down to about the 10-yard line.
I don't know why he don't run another play or two. He's got time to run another play. He doesn't do this. They just kneel the ball and kick it right there. He's waiting on trying to run the clock down.
Actually, they got down into the goal line. I thought they were going to score on us, the touchdown, but they kind of bagged off because they knew a field goal was all they needed to win the ball game.
You think this one won't go down in the books as one of the classics of the Ole Miss Mississippi State series? It really has to. No matter how it comes out, no matter who wins it, this has been one whale of a football game.
Out of the hold of Brent Parker, Artie Cosby will attempt a 27-yard field goal.
I knew Artie was going to make it, and he did. He did make it.
When I stretched out, I leaped one way, and Barry Weir leaped the other way. We kind of crossed one another, and we missed the football, and we were laying there looking back, and I said, well, it's over.
I was on the sideline, had my back turned, kind of didn't want to see it, and everybody's like, turn around and look at it.
Waiting for the snap. There it is. It is placed down. There's the kick. It curves. It curves. It is no good.
And that ball was held up by the wind, blew it completely to the left of the kicker in the goal post. He was plenty high and plenty long. This is unbelievable.
You know, the wind was blowing strong, but somebody knocked it down, and it wasn't any of our players.
When I saw the ball hesitate, I said, oh my goodness, and it came back at us. And there was one play I'll never forget in my life.
I guess the good Lord took care of us on that field goal. We didn't have nothing to do with it.
The Mississippi State side stands to the person. I don't think there was a person in the seats. And then I saw him go down.
My lead in the paper the next day was, it may be the first field goal ever cheered by both teams.
In one of the greatest games ever played in the long history of Ole Miss and Mississippi State, Ole Miss has scored 17 points in the fourth quarter to defeat State 24-23. The ball went straight up. The wind caught it, drifted it far to the left of the goalpost, and it came down short of the goalpost.
You go across the field and you talk to a coach, shake him, and he said, Billy, I've never seen anything like this. This was my reply to him. I said, Emory, God's an Ole Miss Rebel. He said, get out of here.
On behalf of the Independence Bowl, extending you an invitation to play the Air Force Academy.
I remember, I think Coach Brewer said, before he introduced the guys, like, it's up to you guys. We won't do it if you don't want to. And the place, you just started screaming. Of course, that's not something we were going to turn down.
The Ole Miss dressing room was wild. That's one of the wildest Ole Miss dressing rooms I've ever been in. I've been in a lot of wild ones after, that may have been the wildest dressing room I've ever been in, the happiest.
I remember, man, just sitting there and thinking, God, we've done it. It happened for us. And then we just erupted, and then the guy with the bowl presentation came in, presented with the bowl presentation, what we accepted. We said, hell yeah, we're going to take it.
I think this team was the team that really legitimately kind of turned the ball for the Ole Miss football program to have legitimate see, as a Southeastern Conference football school.
Air Force won that Independence Bowl 9-3 in a soaked field in Shreveport. Brewer coached 11 years at Ole Miss and led the team to 5 bowl games. He has more wins than any Ole Miss coach besides Johnny Vaught. As for State, Bullard was fired after 2 more losing seasons. He died in 2011 from Lou Gehrig's disease.
Thank you, Terry. Now, you may have noticed that there were no Mississippi State players or coaches in this program, but not for lack of trying. We contacted several former players, including Artie Cosby, and each one of them politely declined to take part. Even Jack Cristil, the longtime broadcast voice of the Bulldogs, now in his 80s, said the memories of that game were still too painful 30 years after the fact. In fact, Jack told us that of all the games he broadcast in his 58 years at State, that was the one he would most like to forget. I'm Brad Schultz. Thanks for watching.
I had a plane in Connors. I was in Covington for 10 years.